It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes. Let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're probably buying our Batman movie tickets.
Oh yeah, I do need to get those.
Yeah, those go on sale this week. And I feel this is, Batman's a cultural phenomenon similar to Spider-Man, right?
He's a commodity.
Yeah, and we've not had a solo Batman movie since 2013, if I'm correct. So, and then also all the Twilight fans, they got to go see the Robert Pattinson.
I mean, talking about Twilight fans now is like talking about people that are like in their like 30s, like with full-time jobs and everything. And I'm not saying they don't have money; they got money to spend. But like the Twilight fandom that is now ingrained in people's head is like still stuck way back in the past, thinking of like teenagers with like. I was going to say Trapper Keepers, but I don't even think people used Trapper Keepers when Twilight came out.
Yeah, all these people, all these Twilight fans are buying tickets to their emo concert out in Las Vegas at the end of the year, okay? I feel like there's overlap here. That's neither here nor there. The Super Bowl is next weekend, folks. Get ready. Buckle up. There's no game today. I believe it's the Bills and somebody else, I believe. Is that right? I don't remember.
I don't think anybody plays today, right?
No, next week. I'm sorry, next week.
Yeah.
No,
it's the LA Rams and the team is orange, I think. I think it's obvious.
Bengals. It was Bengals. Yeah. I should know this because I live close to Cincinnati. So
it's obvious we don't know what we're talking about, but we bring it up because we'll be talking about the media that will happen in between the game, aka the commercials.
Exactly. Honestly, that's interesting to say because the LA Rams are the closest team to you, and I would say the Cincinnati Bengals are the closest team to me.
Is it Bengals or Bengals?
Bengals.
I think it's Bengals, like Bengal Tiger.
It's Bengal. It's still Ben. You can say it however you want. I don't. Is my accent coming through? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to talk about food and media, and then lastly, Sony's getting weird with its Spider-Man characters again, and more.
Well, it was funny when you were talking about Batman and Twilight earlier. We've been watching Peacock as we normally have. The new season of Resident Alien is starting to air, so we've been launching up Peacock on like Fridays to watch that. But we have the almost commercial-free version, which means we get about 30 seconds of commercials, and it's almost always Peacock commercials. So I've been seeing this commercial many times over where they show that, we have the Twilight movies, but we also have Parks and Recreation. So there's an episodes of Parks and Rec where Will Forte guest stars, and he's a huge super fan of Twilight. So some clever marketing person over there made a commercial where they mash up that episode of Parks and Rec with a promo for the Twilight movies, and it's actually really funny and really interesting. So props to that marketing person, whoever came up with that idea. It actually made a halfway decent commercial that I don't mind watching.
Well, I think it's relevant. People who were watching these shows in college and growing up are now the ones making those commercials. So
that's true. They have another one. Yeah, they have another one along the same lines where it's like a sitcom, and then they actually have the movie that it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Die Hard. Because the main character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine goes on and on about how much they love Die Hard, and they also have some of the Die Hard movies, or I don't know if all of those come in one contract anymore. So props to the marketing department over there at Peacock. The only time I'll ever compliment a commercial outside of next weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited for next weekend. I've been hearing some leaks and stuff come through. I'm trying not to watch anything at all on this. I do know that Lay's is making a commercial for the first time, I believe, in 17 years for this year's thing.
I didn't realize they were gone from the Super Bowl that long.
I didn't either. I didn't feel like it. Maybe they had some subsidiaries, but maybe nothing Lay's itself. So and there was another company that's making a big comeback this year. So I feel there's some extra advertising dollars out in the
Maybe Lay's just reached peak potato saturation. They're just like, it would be a waste of money to advertise this potato chip. Literally, everybody's already eating them anyway. We would just be throwing money away.
We're gonna make people think we're out of the game and then come back and make it a big deal. So that's what I'm thinking. But I'm excited for it. We'll talk a little bit about that, and of course the snacks coming up with that. You do mention streaming services. I do believe, where is that streaming at? Is that Peacock as well this year? Is that
yes, I hope I know it is, but I'm saying I hope so because this I would imagine would be a very on-demand stream, right? So I'm hoping the Peacock servers can handle the live streaming of the Super Bowl. I don't quite remember how I watched it last year because I cut the cord a while ago. Maybe I got like a YouTube TV subscription, or I got like a Hulu
Sling
free
or
trial.
something?
Yeah, something. And then I just went to like CBS or wherever it was streaming. So I'm crossing my fingers that Peacock will deliver me to the Super Bowl unpixelated this year.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I now live in an area where I can actually probably get very clear service. I'm not surrounded by hills, rocks, and or other areas. So I'm looking into over the air TV antennas, and I don't know what to do. There's a lot out there, so I'm gonna be doing my research after this to get something. But it's really funny because whenever I pull up the first one that gave me on Google, they're showing streaming, but they're showing the interface for a Plex app rather than actually TV, and then the Spider-Man PS4 game as well, as traditional TV versus HD TV. And I'm like, this makes no sense. You're not watching this game over the air. So they got a little bit of work to do, but I'm excited for that. And then the other thing about streaming services is that I just got my yearly reminder. Hey, your Paramount Plus subscription expires in March, and we're going to renew it for a year. Which it's $100 a year, which really isn't bad, I believe, for whatever deal I've locked myself into. But I was like sitting there, I'm like, am I going to keep it? I mean, do I have too many streaming services? I think I'm going to because of Halo. It's literally like the week before Halo, so I've shot myself in the foot by committing myself to that. But I think I'm starting to reevaluate what streaming services I want to keep and not keep as I we get into 2022.
I got pretty close to canceling Apple Plus towards the end of the year, not because I don't like the shows on there, but I was like, well, the stuff that we're watching is not going to be coming back with its next season for a couple of months. I don't just want to like throw money away for no reason. But then lo and behold, I just kept finding things to watch on Apple Plus. Or they do this thing where it's like, oh, well, the thing you want to watch is only like 3 or maybe 5 weeks away. So it's like, well, I could cancel it for a month, but then I have to like re-sign up, and like it just goes to show how lazy I am, that I would pay $5 to not have to click a couple buttons on a website and then click them again in a couple of weeks. So oh man, they just know how lazy I'm in.
They got you just like that. What was it, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate got you?
Yeah, they got an extra month out of me, but I did go in and I canceled that. So
yeah, I'm actually going to use mine a little bit today. I have Game Pass Ultimate, which lets me download things to my Xbox and play for free. But a listener in the show, friend of ours, Patrick, he reached out and was telling me about Streets of Rage 4. Now, do you remember playing Streets of Rage on Sega back in? Or did you
I think I have a vague recollection.
Yeah, side scroller beat 'em up, right? Very very typical of the time. The fourth one just came out. It's more of a recent game with DLC, and they've added in like daily quests and like difficulty towers and a bunch of other features of like modern games, but still in that old school beat 'em up style. So I put it on my Xbox, but I also noticed I could just slap in my little controller for my phone and play it that way. So I'm gonna give that a go later. But other than that, this week has been for me, I've been very much locked down in my house due to ice storms, which has been both fun and frustrating because I'm like, when you're here for a pandemic, much better. But when you're here and you can't do anything, like even go to the grocery store, you're like, I really want to go to the grocery store right about now. I need something. I've got that itch. All my Coke Zeros ran out of the fridge, Mike. What am I gonna do? But ended up it's fine. But I didn't really do much. I was able to play a lot of games. So kudos to people who Fortnite and Halo I got to play with. I've been diving, like I said, back into Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. didn't get to really watch a whole lot other than what we're going to talk about, Boba Fett and Peacemaker this week, which I don't even know if you watched Peacemaker this week.
Oh yeah, it's become required viewing in our household now.
Yeah, cool. So we don't have a discussion for that. I don't think there was a lot on that this week, but I was able to catch up. But you it sent me one of the most exasperated text messages I've ever gotten from you in your life, stating simply. What was it? I'm watching Real Steel.
I did my homework last week. You brought up the whole notion that the Real Steel universe is on its way back in the form of a Disney Plus series or possibly movie. I don't know. If you look up Real Steel on IMDb, there is a sequel listed, Real Steel 2. So I don't know if that's still going to be happening or if it morphs into a series. I don't know why it's exactly at Disney Plus. When I played the movie, I saw the DreamWorks logo in front of it. So I don't know where this IP has gone, where it's floated to, but I checked out Real Steel streaming on HBO Max at the moment, starring Hugh Jackman and a little kid that kind of looks like the actor who played Anakin in Episode 1, and it's like the same age of like the kid from Anakin from Episode 1, so it was really uncanny watch. But there's two sides of this movie which I found kind of interesting. The first side is kind of totally pointless. The story between Hugh Jackman and his estranged son, it feels a little boilerplate, you can kind of take it or leave it. But I think there's actually some salvageable kind of lore behind Real Steel, which is something I was not expecting to say this week on the podcast after doing my homework. But it's all about how the rise of robot fighting / boxing has eclipsed the real life sports of humans fighting, just because the spectacle is bigger and more exciting. And that's it. That's basically the plot of the world behind it. But it's kind of fun going from fight to fight because all of these robots have unique and distinct styles and looks, and they kind of do that Disney thing where, like in 101 Dalmatians, where the owners kind of look like the dogs, the fighters kind of look like they're robot boxers. And I enjoyed the visual look of it. The special effects were pretty solid. I suppose I could never do this on my own. I am no VFX whiz, but I feel like they pulled off some pretty convincing looking robots for what they were doing. And the movie's not terribly old or anything like that. I want to say it's maybe 5 or 6 years ago, something like that.
2011.
2011. Okay, so that's over a decade old, and it still looks really, really good. Yeah. The only thing that was kind of strange about it was I tried to remember the trailers from when the movie was coming out, and I just kind of got the sense that there was going to be a special robot that had maybe some sort of sentience or some sort of personality or some sort of thought, and there'd be an emotional connection, but that actually never came to fruition. But there's weird hints in the movie that, like, maybe this robot boxing fighter that is connected to Hugh Jackman and the kid might have some sort of consciousness or some latent AI, but it's just totally brushed aside. So it made me think, is there a version of this movie where like there's supposed to be like a ghost in a complex type of scenario where there's supposed to be some thought behind this? But who knows? Maybe that's something that they could explore in the series. But I think there's something here. It made me feel like when I was a kid and I was watching like Metabots. I don't know if anybody watched that anime. I think Fox Kids ported it over to the United States, and it was all about kids who had like robots that would fight each other. So this feels like the same thing,
Zoids?
but on a bigger scale.
Zoids?
Yeah,
I love Zoids.
Zoids, but you're not in the Zoid. You're commanding the Zoid, because you either have like voice commands or like a physical controller that you're controlling the robot with. So this world could definitely be expanded, which I am actually kind of a little weirdly excited to see where it goes. I don't know if I could entirely recommend the movie Real Steel. Like, I think if you just kind of sat back and just waited for whatever they're going to make, I don't think it's going to be connected really too harshly to the movie. But yeah, I was not expecting to say Real Steel has a little bit more to it than I thought it would. So, I mean, we brought this up last week because they're making a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie with Vin Diesel. See, Chris, I finally remembered his name this week. Vin Diesel. But I would think a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie would just be what Real Steel is, unless, I don't know, they take a special turn. But Real Steel, HBO Max, I'm shocked.
I would rather watch more Real Steel movies than Rock'em Sock'em movies. Honestly, they should just have synergy rather than hey, Rock'em Sock'em, we'll help fund some of your Real Steel series if you throw in some Rock'em Sock'em looking robots. And make it fun.
And the requirement for the Rock'em Sock'em movie, right, is they're gonna have like these high-end flashy robots, but at least one point in time, right, one of them gets uppercutted and then the head flies off, and then there'll probably be maybe some sort of like robot like spine that comes with it, so it kind of looks like that piece that shoots the head up. So it's like you're waiting for that shot in the trailer to sell it, and like they'll either call the movie like Rock'em, like just Rock'em, because they have the hubris of thinking there'll be a sequel that they'll call the sequel Sock'em or something like that. But there you go.
Well, I think they call it Rock'em Sock'em, leave robots out of it completely, so they could have two Rock'em, two Sock'em for the sequel.
You are probably right, Chris.
With Vin Diesel, it's Vin Diesel. I mean, honestly, like, is it? I don't. I mean, the guy's not creative, so I think there's that. But I agree. I think again, Disney Plus moving on with a series. I could see them easily doing a live action 6-episode season of this kind of thing that kind of dives into, again, like you said, the world of robot boxing. I mean, this is kind of like what is it feels like those old box, I like Rocky and like what was it Raging Bull kind of fights. Like,
I mean, it has the advantage of having kind of like the sports movie architecture, right? The stakes and the goals are all just set up within like the bracket of whatever goal the boxer is trying to achieve, whether it's a human or a robot, right? So the movie kind of follows that same path as well. So you always have a little bit of a cheat when it comes to like sports movies, that there's always a tournament or a bracket or something that you can show the audience, right?
Yeah, and it's Hugh Jackman's always does a great job no matter what he's given. You could even go back and look at that one movie he was in with John Travolta where he was the hacker. Do you remember that? It was like it had Halle Berry and
it was Swordfish? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Swordfish. Swordfish. Movie sucks, but Hugh Jackman's infectious in it. Like, he does such a great job in it. It's one of the dumbest movies, but it's still such a fun time. So that's pretty fun. And then I'm interested in your take on this next one because I've heard very split thoughts on this show, Mike, here.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you're hearing split. Hulu has a new show called Pam and Tommy, starring Seth Rogen, who's the Winter Soldier again? Sebastian Stan, and some actress I'm not familiar with that's playing Pamela Anderson. But yeah, Pam and Tommy, all about the Pamela Anderson Tommy Lee sex tape that came out in the mid '90s. And there's 3 episodes on Hulu now. I don't know exactly how long the show is supposed to run for. I don't know if it's a limited series or if it's going to have multiple seasons or if it's just 8 episodes in and out, but it comes out on Wednesdays. But we binged the 3 episodes this weekend, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's crazy. Seth Rogen is great in it. Everybody's great in it. I mean, oh my God, Sebastian Stan as Tommy Lee. I don't even really have any sort of memory of Tommy Lee back in the 90s because I was like 8 years old when like the supposed like sex tape came out. And I wasn't even pubescent yet. I was pre-pubescent, so I did not care about any of this. I'm sure you were a similar way, Chris. So by the time we got to an age where we'd care about Pamela Anderson, it was already kind of old news. So I feel like this is kind of I'm learning something that totally missed my nostalgia kind of zone back in the day.
I think I'm a little bit different because I grew up. My dad listened to Motley Crue, so I knew Tommy Lee. So like, if I heard it and I heard everything about it, I was like, oh, that's the guy from Motley Crue. I didn't care about who else was involved in that kind of thing. So I think my inclinations from the other half of it was like, oh, it's that trashy looking guy from Motley Crue. That's cool.
So you might be a little bit more plugged into it though. But yeah, so far these 3 episodes have been great. It's really fascinating because since it's a series and not just like a movie, they can go into like the very interesting minutia of like, what is it practically like to sell a sex tape of a celebrity, right? Because like you don't have releases for this type of thing, right? You know, you have to worry about lawyers. You have this very valuable thing on your hands, but how do you monetize it? So I'm finding it very fascinating seeing how the character of Seth Rogen kind of goes through the machinations with Nick Offerman, who I forgot was also in this show. But yeah, I don't really know what the critical response to this would be. I haven't really looked anything up. I don't know what maybe some of the detractors are saying about it, but I'm having a great time. I think the show is very captivating, very, very adult, obviously, like not a show for kids. You know, it's about selling a sex tape. But yeah, Pam and Tom on Hulu, check it out. It's great. I don't know exactly who is taking the creative lead on the show, but Point Grey Pictures is in the credits, and that's Seth Rogen's production company, and he's also starring in it as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just another banger coming out of that studio, much like The Boys is, or Preacher, or any of the other great things that they made. So yeah, big recommendation for Pam and Tommy on Hulu.
Yeah, I think the people I've heard is like it's just a trashy show, and neither Pamela Anderson or Tommy Lee were involved in the making of the show. So it's just one of those kind of deals where like I think it's more of like, hey, you probably should have involved them a little bit on this if you're going to do this.
I think it's my wife and I were talking about this a little bit. I think it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if I was Tommy Lee or Pamela Anderson and I was approached about this story, I would want total final cut. I would want 100% creative control of what gets to go into the show. And they're never going to give that to them, right? So why would I kind of tell them my story and give them all of the information and all of the truth from my perspective for them just to make a show that I don't 100% agree is the truth? Because the second that, you know, you hear, oh, this new show came out and Pam and Tommy Lee are involved, you're going to take everything that you see on the screen as truth. So the second even one thing in the show makes them look bad, and to be clear, for the first 3 episodes, it's 100% Tommy Lee. Like Pamela Anderson is actually kind of coming off like an angel in the show, which could be very much the truth. I don't know. I was 8 years old in 1995. I don't know what happened with this. So I think it was kind of one of those things, well, if you get like, you know, Dr. Dre involved in the Straight Outta Compton movie, you know, you kind of get a very polished over experience of what happened. So whether this is true or not, I'm having a good time watching it. So, and I don't really care too much about Motley Crue or Baywatch anyway. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride.
I think you care so much, Mike. That's what we go with. But I like Motley Crue. That's my thing. But it's not enough to drive me into the show. So that's cool. Well, let's jump into the news. Let's get into this. J.K. Simmons, love the guy, right? Great actor, very versatile. He is back on set for Batgirl, which makes it kind of in the Zack Snyder DCEU, right? Because he was in Batman v Superman or just Justice League 1 and 2.
Yeah, I guess.
But at the same time, is this J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man? Because
who knows?
He looks the same.
Audiences now are getting more comfortable with the idea of multiple universes and actors crossing over. So this could be very much a totally different universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it very much so. They're bringing him in. He again, it's J.K. Simmons. He looks like he is. He sounds like he is. There's probably a big bushy mustache under his.
Gotta be a mustache under that mask.
But I'm interested to see what's going on, what role he plays in this, and how it's gonna be.
Yeah, not much to take from the set photo, except for it looks like it's winter time. Whether it's fake snow or real snow, who knows? They could be in Canada or wherever.
Well, we talked about it with the Firefly images. There was Christmas decorations, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. So
they are kind of setting it around that time frame as well. I love the design of the buildings behind it. I know it's like, kind of like old New York, right? Like the stone and the stuff. So it definitely feels Gotham-y. Really, like it feels kind of dirt. It looks like, I don't know if they dirtied it up or if that's just how it looks, but it feels dirty.
Yeah, there's actually, now that I zoom in on the photo, there's like a plaque on the wall that says Virginia Court. I would imagine that gets comped out of the final movie, right?
yeah, probably. The corsetry, unless that's a real place up there. I don't know. So Yeah, J.K. Simmons, great actor. Glad he's still out doing stuff. Being in all these superhero movies, Mike, he's our one connector across everything, right?
Yeah, maybe he's starting his Samuel L. Jackson journey throughout the superhero universe, where he's just in everything and gets all the money.
That's right. If we make bingo cards for who's going to be in a franchise, he's our free space, right? Like he goes right in the middle.
Honestly, and that's cool. Like I don't know if the lore of Commissioner Gordon has ever stretched this much in the comics, but I actually do really like the idea of somebody like Commissioner Gordon, like seeing the holes within law enforcement and the holes within just our law systems and going, I need to assemble a group of heroes or something like that. I mean, it does kind of tread on very similar paths as Marvel, but it makes more sense than anybody else.
Yeah, and he's always been, a standout character who's always like, I'm part of the law, but I understand what Batman's doing. And then on the flip side, let's jump into the next topic here. The Batman tickets go on sale February 10th this week, which is in Thursday, I believe. 7, 8, 19 Thursday, and that Commissioner Gordon will be played by I can't think of his name. He's the voice of the Watcher.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah. I was gonna say like Jonathan Wright. I'm like, that's not it. So Jeffrey Wright, who is the voice of the Watcher, and he's supposed to get his own show, Gotham PD or whatever it's called. So I'm interested to see how he takes his role a little bit as well. He's always a very serious man. Always has a very serious look on his face, very questionable. I watched him in Westworld, right? Very good. Mm-hmm. And then I think the only time I saw him in a kind of a different role was the French Dispatch, when he played one of the story reporters.
Oh yeah, he covers the story of the chef for the police.
So yeah, I enjoyed him in that. So I'm excited for a lot more. I guess, is this the year of the Bat people, the Bat family? Because we have also like 4 of them in the Flash as well, kind of thing. And it sounds like Batman is he's taking the forefront of any DC property right now. Really, if we can get a Batman in it, put him in there.
Well, it's not a bad
Batgirl.
It's not a bad place to gamble your money.
Yeah, no, not at all. He's like I would say close to the Spider-Man of the DC universe, right? Like
yeah.
And then with the tickets going on sale February 10th, that is coming out in March. So we're a month away today, I believe, or next weekend maybe. I don't know. It's coming up on us. I gotta go look. I'm trying to avoid any trailers or clips or anything else from here on out. I want to go in as blind as I can, right, to this movie. I believe there's going to be some reveals, some twists and turns. If you got the Riddler, of course you're going to have twists and turns. So I'm excited for this to watch the Batman return, right? That sounds. Are you planning on trying to go as soon as possible as well?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. 3 hours of Batman. I'll make sure I'll empty my bladder, get some snacks ready to go, so I don't die of hunger.
That's right. Get there as soon as you can. Sadly, we will not be seeing any Batman trailers at the Super Bowl this next weekend, if you will, next Sunday. We'll talk about this. I'm going to swap these bullet points around. My studios skipping the Super Bowl include Warner Brothers, Sony, and Apple, which I think is a big miss for Warner Brothers this year. I think they've got a really stellar lineup of properties, and I think that would be great to get those in there, right? So
who knows? Maybe it's just timing. Maybe they just don't have the trailers ready, because it does seem like this would be the year that you kind of push DC, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I would kind of push back on you saying like they had them for Fandom for the Flash and Aquaman, right? So I figured they'd at least be preparing, even if they don't use it in the final cut, something for these. But on the other side, Disney, Marvel, Pixar going all in with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer. I assume the final trailer will be there. Another Moon Knight trailer, which I didn't think would happen. I was hoping for something newer. And a Lightyear trailer.
I forgot about Lightyear.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe when we saw Spider-Man, there was a Lightyear trailer in front of it, and it felt longer than the previous one we had. I believe it had more dialogue in it, more scenes. I could be completely wrong. It could be misremembering, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch. But I'm excited for that because that's a I think that's the first Pixar movie that probably won't go to Disney Plus this year, right? Like that one's definitely going to theaters.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to think, Red is going to straight to Disney Plus, probably due to the Omicron variant. Hopefully things taper off from COVID after Omicron, so you never know. But Lightyear does seem like a very proven high-end IP that they would probably want to do everything they could not to put it on Disney Plus. Not taking anything away from Pixar's Red, because I'm sure it's going to be great. It looks amazing, but it's not based on anything, so it makes it a little bit harder for them to decide where to put it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, I mean, that's the third Pixar film going straight there. I think, we don't have the data. We don't have the numbers. I don't think Disney doesn't like Pixar movies. I will tell you they did hit it out of the park with Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno being number one on the Billboard 100 right now. It's even playing on my Sirius XM radio on my drive into work right now. And then also the same thing is, the numbers for kids watching these movies right on there is probably through the roof. And if they don't have anything for kids that month, like, we'll spend our quote unquote marketing dollars to buy this movie and ensure we maintain our Disney Plus memberships. I don't know what those numbers are. I don't have them, but would not be surprised one bit if that's the reason kind of behind it. Because Soul, and then what was the other one? You said it was Soul, Turning Red, and the last one was
Raya and the Last Dragon.
No,
or was that
that was Disney. Shoot, I feel bad for forgetting what it was.
Was it the two
Luca?
Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna go all the way back to Onward at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, my dad's legs. So yeah, no, that one went pretty quickly, but yeah, it was Luca going straight there. So yeah, they're not bad films. They're good movies. So they just must have something extra that we don't see with that. I'm not curious of Doctor Strange. I want to, if I get one more trailer, that's all I'm doing. I'm cutting myself off from there. But I think there's still some reveals left that we don't know the story completely, right? They've been giving us teaser trailers, so I'd be interested to see that. Hopefully they don't give anything away. I believe we started talking about some of these high end salt, like grains of salt rumors we this week, right, where we talked about the idea of Tom Cruise being in this movie. And I'm like, that's kind of weird, so I hope they don't give anything away like that if that's true. But yeah, I just wish it was a new property. Thor Love and Thunder would be awesome. I think it'd be hilarious. And then Moon Knight, I think it's fine. We're getting closer to that. So yeah, anything else you want to see in this, Mike, at the Super Bowl?
I mean, I always just want to see the unexpected. That's always what I'm looking forward to. Something like it always just kind of seems like there is a little bit of like a bargain strike, right? It's just like we were kind of hoping for a She-Hulk first look, and it looks like we're just getting more Moon Knight. And it's like I don't hate seeing more Moon Knight, right? But like, right. Where's She-Hulk? I want to see She-Hulk.
Right. Well, it's the same way I feel about the like we talked about DC, right? Like there's so much good things on the horizon, like. And I think we're just impatient because we've not had anything in so long.
Yeah.
Of these, so just the teasers and the logos, but that's fine. The other thing to talk about the Super Bowl is what you're going to eat, Mike. It's about that time of the week where you can't wait until Saturday and go get your Super Bowl snacks. If you're doing that, even Friday's going to be risky. It's payday for some people. You may run out of items. You got to start planning this now, Mike. So. One of the things that's a staple in our household, my wife loves to make pigs in a blanket, if you will. That's a very quick and easy snack that everyone enjoys. You can get some ramekins with some sauces, dip to your heart's content. I'm a big fan of shrimp cocktail with some very special St. Elmo's cocktail sauce, which is mostly horseradish and will clear out your sinuses if you ever have it. I'm looking for some inspiration for this year to add something else to the repertoire. So I'm interested what's on your mind for this year's.
We've been humbly calling next week the Dipapalooza. We're going to be covering our table in dips and just kind of probably ignoring maybe any sort of main entree, and it's just going to be dips. Okay. I want spinach artichoke dip. The wife wants 7-layer dip. I want some sort of like a queso dip to get down with. There was a fourth dip that we were considering as well, and then a dessert dip has been brought up as an idea. So we're gonna get in. Oh, the buffalo chicken dip. That's one of my favorite dips. I think that was the fourth one. So yeah,
I think that's
we're leaning hard. Yes, we're leaning hard into the dips. There's no other time of the year where it's sane enough for a person just sit down and fill themselves with dips. So it's going to be a dip. It's going to be a dipathon, dipapalooza up in here.
Yeah. So I mean, now mind you, you've got a close knit group of friends and people, so you trust them in your dip situation, right? Because you don't want people double dipping in a pandemic. You can't double dip the chips.
That's very true. So, I'm gonna have to get like a 10-inch. No, more than 10 inch. I'm gonna have to get like a yardstick or something so I can whack people.
Yeah,
they're dipping too many times.
I would do that, and then also I would probably set up like if you can get the shell of a security camera and just point it at the dips, be like, we're making sure you don't double dip.
You're all being monitored.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be pretty funny. I think dips are good. You kind of sound like you've got like a melting pot kind of going on over there. You're just missing a cheese fountain.
Yeah,
really. For that, I was thinking. Desserts are usually my where I suffer the most on these. I don't eat a lot of sweets myself. Maybe I could whip out the Shang-Chi peach cake.
Oh God!
Again. We had a good one over here. We had different experiences, but also I did go back to that book to see if they had any Eternals cookies or something like that. They did not. They did not have anything Eternals related. So I'm really looking at desserts. Dessert tip sounds like a fantastic idea, Mike. That's a great call out.
You're welcome.
Because you're going to need that in the second half. You've probably eaten by the time the halftime's over. When you're up there spitting out every word to M&M's, I'm the real Slim Shady at halftime. You're probably already full. So we'll go down that route. Thanks to listener and follower of this show, Marvel Fan World, for sending this over. Channing Tatum he just doesn't like Marvel movies, man. He's just not watching them because his Gambit movie was canceled. A big asterisk on here. Fox canceled his Gambit movie because he didn't have any director's credits under his belt at that time, just actor's credits. So he didn't, they didn't really trust him. Disney did not cancel it. They just didn't re-up it whenever they bought Fox. But he hasn't watched any Marvel movies. I think it's a little unfair because, the MCU movies are way different than the Foxverse movies in terms of quality and kind of how they approach them. Do you think the desire for a Gambit film or a Gambit, introduction is still as high as it was several years ago?
I mean, I look at it this way, Channing Tatum. We were all traumatized a little bit by this Gambit movie, but it seems to be for different reasons. Yours, that it was canceled, and then us, because we had to put up with the idea of there being a Gambit solo movie out there in the world. To be fair, if this ever would have gotten off the ground, it would never have seen a sequel. Right, the Fox was absorbed into Disney, the characters, the IP, the storylines. Even though Channing Tatum is a really big box office pull, I doubt Kevin Feige would want to go to all of the work to make the continuity of a Channing Tatum Gambit make sense. Mm-hmm. We don't even know how they're going to be introducing mutants and the X-Men. And I just don't think we needed Fox to be pulling this one off. So I guess this is one thing that I always bring up on the podcast, and I'm not trying to talk down to actors or belittle their intelligence, but they know so little about their own business that they're working in. It just seems like the more famous you get, the more you get surrounded by people that are just building you up and telling you yes and telling you what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. But it's just if fans of the movie can just sit back and go yeah, this isn't really where all the hotness is right now. The X-Men universe is old and it's falling apart, and they're probably going to be rebooting it soon anyway. Why would you want to be attached to this movie? But then Channing Tatum just gets a script by his his reps, and they're just oh, you want to be in a superhero movie? It's a Marvel movie. Yeah. And it's oh, Marvel superhero, that's great, let's do it. And it's just oh, you got to be asking the second level questions. Well, if it's Marvel, is it Fox, Sony, or is it Disney? You got to be going So that's kind of what I think happens. They just are not going into the finer details. But who knows? Channing Tatum, if you're listening to this right now, I apologize if you are just in the weeds on every project that you're in. And that could be true here, right? That could possibly be true if he's so traumatized. He could have been 100% into this. Maybe he went into a Cajun immersion program, right? So he can get the accent down perfectly. He knew that this was a Fox Marvel property, but he was down to reboot the entire universe on his shoulders. And he knew he was going to be competing with other Marvel and DC properties, and it just all fell apart. So either way, no tears cried from me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if he would have had it, he probably would have had a horrible experience and been even more upset because of that, rather than, sorry, regret of things that didn't happen, rather than things that did happen. Because if you remember, I know this is also one of your favorite movies, X-Men Origins Wolverine. I know you can sit here and tell me every word of this movie front to back, but it also had a Gambit in it, right? For no reason other than fan service. And how good was that movie? Exactly. Horrible. I think, Gambit is a great character. He's a great fan favorite character, but if you're going to do it, I think he's always worked better on a team, right? I think a lot of people who grew up watching this and knowing Gambit watched the X-Men animated show, right? And, there may be resurgence in popularity with him when the animated show hits Disney Plus, the revival, and that'd be great. That'd be awesome. And then put him on a team of X-Men if they go into the MCU, rather than a solo movie for a guy who is essentially the founding member of the Yats restaurant throughout the Midwest here. So I think I agree with you. Like he's probably upset of what could have been, but he probably would be even more upset with what would have actually come to fruition at the end of this. Honestly, I say look to, what was it, X-Men Apocalypse, and what was the other one after that? Dark Phoenix. Like nothing good came out in that era where his movie was going to come out in. Deadpool, I still think is what they call it, lightning in a bottle kind of thing. Like Ryan Reynolds, pushed that character through all the way through, and that worked out really well for him. So I just don't think in the era of Magic Mike, Channing Tatum could have done the same kind of thing at the end of the day. I mean, he's also in your other favorite movie that includes The Mandalorian, Kingsman 2, as some goofy guy who's just like brainwashed to dance around.
And then he was like weirdly frozen and then threatened to be in a third movie or like a spin-off.
Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be a big deal in this, and he was only in it for like 5 minutes overall at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm sorry I'm sorry he feels that way, but I think he should give him a chance because there's been some quality content come right out of there. The news that has got me I thought this was fake. I just kind of shoved it to the side, and I still am not thinking about this too clearly, Mike, is that Sony is in talks to cast, not even just cast Madam Web in a live action movie. And they've got Dakota Johnson, who is who I know her mostly from 50 Shades of Grey, which has been every image I've seen of this, because there's literally a scene where she has a red mask over her eyes, and Madame Web has like red mask over her eyes as well. So that's all you're going to see at this. But of all, next to Aunt May, this is probably the character I thought needed a live action version the least, without taking a lot of liberties on what this character does and can do in the movie world.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we shouldn't be too surprised that a character like Madam Web is showing up kind of after all of this kind of multiversal drama is starting to hit these universes. But the Madam Web that I'm familiar with is from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. And that character was older. She was like blindfolded, like a type of like a clairvoyant person that could she see through dimensions? What exactly was it? Some sort of power.
She could like view through different timelines and different versions of, like, the Secret Wars stuff, like, or Secret Wars stuff of like different Peters and stuff like that. And she was like the hub of all reality, but only for spider people kind of thing.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense, especially now, like where the movies have been going. But Dakota Johnson is much younger. When I was Googling Madam Web, it looks like there's a younger version of the character that does exist. I don't know what their background or story is, so maybe that's the direction that they're going. But who knows?
Yeah.
Does this even fit within the Spider-Man world? Does this fit more in kind of like the villain universe? Is this their kind of answer of the quote unquote female Spider-Man project that they've been trying to get off the ground?
Yeah.
Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, first off, this is a huge turnoff. Like a Madam Web movie is just like, of all the characters you have access to in Spider-Man's library, you choose Madam Web. Now, is this due to the popularity of Spider-Man No Way Home dealing with a multiverse of characters? Is this the way to handle different versions of Spider-Man very, very frequently, or like in any way that they want to? Is this, instead of making a Spider-Man 2099 movie, or Spider-Man Andrew Garfield's 3, we can make a Madam Web as a hub for these characters to come and go.
Yeah,
and she's going through different universes.
The character seems perfect for a Spider-Verse movie, right? Like kind of like the psychedelic look of the chair the character sits in and the mask and everything. I feel like it could really fit within the universe of an animated Spider-Man world. But live action, I guess the conduit looks to be Dakota Johnson. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if time travel's involved. Maybe they age her up in different parts of the movie and then age her down in flashbacks. I don't know.
I think if there's no time travel, they could just use a younger version. However, knowing that her whole purpose is to sit in the throne in the middle of a web, and these web strands control the universes and time. Like, she's paralyzed, she's blind, and she's old, and sits in a chair. That's great, but that's not much of a character thing for a movie.
Yeah.
So I could see her possibly, them making some concessions on this.
Yeah.
Now, I just. At this point, where Morbius is around the corner right in April, Kraven the Hunter is still in works, as far as we know. But they never made that Silver and Black movie. You remember that? That was supposed to film, and then they shut it down like the day of. So there's still a chance this may not come to fruition. But it sounds like Sony got some money in their pockets this winter, and they're starting to feel out some different things they can do with it. So
I feel like we should give Dakota Johnson the primer that maybe Channing Tatum wasn't given. It's like, okay, Dakota, yes, this is a Spider-Man movie. Yes, this is a Marvel movie, but you are at Sony, and I don't think you're going to be crossing that threshold where you get to go visit Marvel on the weekends like Tom Holland. You're going to be more in the Venom, soon-to-be Morbius universe. So cross your fingers and lower your expectations, and go ahead and take the paycheck. Yeah. Sure, they got the money, but that's my PSA to you, Dakota.
Well, I will say the only thing about this, and I just thought of this, is in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, where Miles Morales was created as well. Before that, there was a clone saga, and they cloned Peter Parker, and the one that came out to be Spider-Woman in that universe was essentially a female version of Peter Parker, a clone of him, right? Mm-hmm. Looking at Dakota Johnson, she could be a female clone of Tom Holland pretty easily, just kind of looking at her.
Yeah, that could. I mean, they could do a whole clone thing. I mean, the Scarlet Spider, right, is a very iconic character that I'm sure fans would like to see.
Well, and if they do this clone saga, maybe Madam Web is the name they use instead of Spider Girl or Spider Woman, like they did in the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. Because they can pull from the Ultimate Universe, and hopefully they do, and get a Miles thing going. But like, maybe Madam Web's just a piss poor name they chose for it, because they're like, we don't have any other options for character names. Let's use this. So maybe they could go a whole different route than we're even imagining, and they've just chose a bad name for it.
Yeah. You know what? If I had to pick the bright side of all of this, right? We talked about all of these canceled spider projects that we never got to see, right? So we could look at that in a bad way of like, oh, look at all of these failures that they keep failing to produce. But maybe look at it as a more positive light, that somebody over at Sony, right, has the wherewithal to go, this is a bad idea, let's cancel the project and just wait until we get something better. And maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe they did really strike gold. They got a really great first draft back on the script. Everything's really popping off, and we're off to the races with our Madam Web movie. I'll cross our fingers and hope that that's the case.
I will cross my fingers for you, Mike. We're going to need some luck.
Appreciate that.
Speaking of Spider-Man No Way Home, it has been dethroned from number 1 since its release this week with the release of Jackass 4. I was talking about Jackass 4 with some people there. I was like, I kind of want to see it. It's enough to go to the theater, I don't know, but I want to see it because it feels like you're hanging out with old friends, right? Like, Jackass was big when we were teenagers, and we're like, yeah, I do stupid shit like this. So I really want to see it because it's just one of those things, hang out with old friends rather than, I'm just a sadist for pain and, gross things. But, Spider-Man, I believe it was in talks to get second versus whatever other movie was out. I don't remember.
Well, I don't know. I was going to say I don't know if this is a competition realistically for Jackass, but I've been seeing a lot of chatter out there on social media for Roland Emmerich's new movie Moonfall. Apparently, it's hitting that sweet spot of being so bad it's good. So I'm kind of making plans to go see this one.
So Moonfall was the one I was thinking of. I couldn't think of it. Spider-Man beat Moonfall. Moonfall is well under half of Jackass total for the weekend. So actually, yeah, well under, like, it's like 10 million, and Jackass is like 24. So yeah, Moonfall's a big pass for me. Roland Emmerich can run to the moon himself for all I care. But the biggest news for Spider-Man is that this is like, people are making this into clickbait. It's almost annoying. Yes, Spider-Man No Way Home will not go to Disney Plus when it goes to streaming, right? Can you find any Spider-Man movie on there right now, Mike?
Is this people? I guess I can't. We just can't assume that everybody out there listens to the Superhero Slate podcast. But if you were an avid listener, you would have heard from us a long time ago that they do not have the streaming rights for the Spider-Man movies.
Yes, and if they do, I think there's an agreement, but it's not for like 2025 or something like that. It's still a ways out. It's also not going to Netflix right away, because this movie was well in production before the Sony Netflix streaming agreement went into effect. So it will go to Starz at some point this year. They've not announced a digital or a physical release for this movie yet. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man and you want to watch it on digital and don't want to pay for it, you'll have to subscribe to Starz streaming service to watch this at some point later in the year. So that's the PSA for that one. Secret Invasion is filming. There's another image of Samuel L. Jackson on set, and I've included his Instagram photo here because he includes it. No patch, no scar, no scar. Don't know why he's saying no scar twice. It might be the shirt on the bottom, but it looks like they might be flashing back to a younger Nick Fury using the he doesn't have the big bushy beard, or he's gonna clean himself up for the show a little bit. It could be a Skrull. I thought maybe a Skrull took over his body. And
this is just official confirmation that they're finally crossing over with the Star Wars universe, and Fury's getting in a bacta tank, right? He's gonna Boba Fett himself, get rid of some of those face scars, look young again, and
yeah. So if they do, I mean, Disney's no stranger to de-aging their actors, right? Like, at all, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. And especially the Marvel shows and movies, they will literally de-age anybody. Even they did a whole movie with Samuel L. Jackson in the 90s, right? For Captain Marvel. So I don't. This is not really a surprise, but it's good to see Samuel L. Jackson out there killing this Nick Fury. I think he's a great actor. He's been in it the longest. He will have been in it the longest when he debuts in Secret Invasion. So, like you said, we're looking forward to this event series coming around the corner. Loki season 2, on the other hand, is expected to start filming this summer. I'm very curious how this show's going to go. I mean,
yeah, and also we'll have some maybe more sample sizes of how long it takes for a Marvel show to be filmed and then edited and then put out onto a streaming service. Because right when you hear about a movie starting to film, you're just like, oh, okay, well, it's going to be like a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years for them to finish the whole thing. But hopefully this is a TV show, right? Maybe we'll turn it around quickly. Will we see it this calendar year? Is it possible? I mean, I know we've had some like leaked schedules, and I don't think we've seen Loki season 2 on it. So
No.
I guess maybe we anticipate spring next year, probably.
I'd probably give it a year. I would say summer of next year. And I only say that because I think Loki has like the most effects short of WandaVision that I've seen in the show, right? Like, do you feel like, I mean, like, he's got power, they're in a different dimension, they go to different
they're going to different worlds.
So I'm excited to see it. I want to know more about Loki. I did have to go clothes shopping this weekend, and when I bought some, I looked in the window of Box Lunch, and literally there's like a whole Loki section in Box Lunch now. So this is hitting the zeitgeist pretty hard still.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it has to come out before or after Ant-Man? Since that's probably going to be the next time we see Jonathan Majors, at least for sure we know he's going to be in Ant-Man 3. You know, that's July.
That's a great question. I think, you know, they kind of imply that it is in fact Kang running the TVA, right? So I would say probably maybe right after. I wouldn't say before, because that's a month and a half of 6 episodes, and that comes out 2023. Is that right? So I think it'd be after. I think it'd have to be after, like even if it's right after, a little bit. So it's a good question. Kang is definitely a big question mark out there for sure. Eternals, I believe it's going to be hitting. It's on Disney Plus. I'm waiting for my Steelbook version to come in. But rumors are actor Don Lee will return to film scenes as Gilgamesh. He did die in the movie by a deviant, and he was protecting Deviant. I was going to ask you. I was going to not put this in there. I'm like, do you remember what his power was, Mike?
Was he the big, strong, punchy guy?
He's the punchy guy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got the glove and he punches things. That's what he does. So, you know, we kind of know the Eternals are kind of like androids, like robots, right? Is there another one going to be out there? Is it a flashback in some other movie kind of coming along the way? I don't know. There's an opportunity here, but I think I don't think Angelina Jolie will show up. I know he was with her for decades when she went crazy in the movie. So I'd be interested to see what he does with some of that stuff, and if what movie would even go back in time other than Ant-Man? Is that the only one that could possibly time travel?
Yeah, if it's even time, you know, because we know it's quantum, but that's not exactly time. It's not exactly a multiverse either. Some clarification on the next Ant-Man movie, Peyton Reed, would be very much appreciated of what the hell the quantum realm is in relation to everything that's been going on.
I would say it involves time, because he was there for 10 seconds and was there for 5 years kind of thing, and then also they used it to time travel. And you also brought
it up with me as well. You know, did Paul Rudd / Ant-Man Scott Lang survive the snap because he was in the quantum realm, or, you know, everybody had a 50-50 shot of surviving, so maybe that's just the way it went. But yeah. I don't know if it was all life, right? Would he would like a little tardigrade next to him degrade, turn in the poof? And I suppose he would have saw that and maybe remarked on it, like, oh yeah, there was some little critters down there that disappeared weirdly. So yeah. Clarification. We'll see if we get it.
Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll see. My theory is on this, tying back to Loki, is the TVA is in the quantum realm as well, or close to it, in a outside of the known universe, if you will. So the Infinity Stones only affect one universe. So I'm interested to see what that is as well. We're not Lord of the Rings, diehards here. We like the movies. We like the stuff. But the Rings of Power TV show has unveiled 20 character posters, and
it's a bunch of hands, right?
Mid bodies, hands, swords, rings, whatever. One guy's got an apple. I don't even know who the actors are in these. They don't even say the actors' names. They're just characters, and it's very much Lord of the Rings aesthetics. I can really only pick out one of these, if you would.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Tolkien head out there that has been able to pull tons of Easter eggs out of each little poster. But Sauron, to me, as a casual, is the only one that really stands out. And I was proud of myself for knowing that that was Sauron without, needing to be told what it was. Because, yeah, that hand looks familiar. I remember that flashback scene where his fingers get cut off, right? That was always pretty cool. So here's him with all of his fingers.
Yeah, exactly. So... we know Sauron forged the rings of power in his one ring, so I assume he will be around in this show a little bit. So great aesthetics, looks fantastic. I want a trailer that shows me what's going on. That's really what I need out of this. I could see Amazon dropping a trailer for Super Bowl on this.
Oh, they're always putting money into those Alexa ads, right? They get the most famous people that they could possibly afford, which is literally anybody, and they make Alexa commercials. So maybe we'll get a Lord of the Rings trailer.
Was the last year or 2 years ago they did the Alexa was Michael B. Jordan?
That might have been last year. That sounds more familiar than anything else.
I think he had a TV show come out last year.
Yeah, if this is following kind of the logic of what we see with movies a lot of the times, right? When you start to get posters, right, that means usually new footage or a trailer is coming along. I know this is a series, so the rules and the promotional aspects are a little bit different. But yeah, if you get like a movie poster on a Tuesday, usually the trailer is Wednesday or Thursday. So these conveniently coming out near the Super Bowl, maybe we will get a trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had the title reveal, was it 2 weeks ago, and then this, and then I definitely can see them on a schedule releasing all this stuff. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. That's it for the news. Let's dive into our discussion topic of the week, Mike. The Book of Boba Fett, Episode 6. This is pure spoilers ahead. If you've not seen it, stop, go look, go watch it, come back. But also, this is a little known fact, there's only 7 episodes of the show. Mm-hmm. So this is technically the penultimate episode of this probably one-time season of this show. And while I don't mind the Book of Boba Fett, I enjoy watching it, why are the 2 best episodes have 1 minute of Boba Fett in them? I feel that it's not a slight against the show, but I feel like they're saving all their heavy ammo for these 2 episodes.
Yeah, you feel like you're already starting to see like the infographic, right, of Mandalorian kind of completionists. It's like, okay, well, first you watch the first season, right? Then you watch second season, and then season 1 of Boba Fett episodes, 5 and 6, then season 3. It's weirdly turned the Book of Boba Fett into required viewing, right? Where I think a lot of people have considered it optional. Now you could just say, well, why don't you just watch those 2 episodes that really involve Mando? Well, we don't know what's going to happen next week, right? On the final episode, he's supposed to be returning. And I believe he does, right? Near the end of the episode. Yeah, he does. Yeah, I'm conflating all of the different things. Because that's the big thing, right, Chris? This episode is full. It's so full of moments, right? And if God help you if you are a Star Wars fan and have not been able to watch this episode yet. Spoilers abound. I know Chris probably got the ultimate spoiler for this episode spoiled for him. I feel bad for you because this particular character means a lot more to you than it meant to me.
Yeah, so it's really funny. So literally, I try to avoid the internet on Wednesdays. I'm like, I know something Marvel or Star Wars is happening, and the first thing I see online when I log in is again spoilers, Cad Bane's live action appearance. And I'm pretty sure I've never said the fuck word so many times. Like a minute. I'm like, why is this going to be ruined for me? Because that would have been fantastic reveal. So then I get home and I'm like, all right, I got to watch this right away. It was on the internet the rest of the day. I'm going to watch this right away. Get home. And little did I know that was one of many, many reveals in this episode. And I was like, had I not seen this would have been that whipped cream and cherry on top of this episode.
Yeah. I mean, but we left off last week, right, talking about how, is Mando going to go see Grogu before he goes see Boba Fett? Or are they just going to leave that out and tack it on to the next season of Mandalorian? And I was shocked that not only was Grogu in this episode, but Luke, Ahsoka, Cad Bane. Also, the very, very beginning, my boy Timothy Oliphant, he's in like the quote unquote cold open of the show. This episode had like everything.
If you have not watched any Mandalorian up to this point, or probably even Clone Wars, you're probably confused as to hell of what's going on here. Because I think a lot of this was written by Dave Filoni and I believe directed by Dave Filoni as well. Or written by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. One of the two. Dave Filoni was instrumental in the Clone Wars TV show. I would even go so far to say you probably need to watch The Bad Batch, Mike. Again, I sound like a broken record.
Oh my God! Speaking of The Bad Batch, I mean, this wasn't really confirmed at all in this, but also they had the flashback backstory for Grogu, which I wasn't expecting either. That's a whole other component I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the first thing I thought of, I was like, so I believe last year we talked about they hired the guy who deep faked Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill on the Luke Skywalker's face.
Shamook,
yeah,
Shammy, something Shamook. I think it's Shamook.
Yeah, he fixed Mike's biggest complaint with that episode on YouTube, right?
No, wrong. My biggest complaint was his voice. The visuals were, they were passable to me, but the voice. But I think I know where you're going, Chris. Everything seems to be a little bit better, right?
they fixed it so much they put in almost too much of it. I was like, God damn, is this a Luke Skywalker show? Because like they're just giving it to us, face, voice, everything the whole way through. Like they didn't. There was no camera tricks. They didn't shy away from anything.
Yeah,
they're like, this is Luke Skywalker. He's got a lightsaber and he's trying to train Grogu on this planet. Who also now knows Ahsoka, and I'm like, this is the first time they've met, right? Like, that we've ever seen. So this is a very powerful moment.
You mean Luke and Ahsoka, right?
Yeah, Luke and Ahsoka.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a little spider or ant droids building a little hut that looks like his hut from I believe that's the one from The Last Jedi, right? The flashback.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not. I don't 100% remember because I try to push a lot of that out of my mind.
Well,
not The Last Jedi. Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker. That's the one.
Yeah, but I think that's the one where like I think Luke tries to he's training the young Jedi. Either way, this show just gives. This episode gives and gives and gives some more up until the point where I'm like, okay, it's over. Someone's gonna come into this town, and they're obviously it's a Western style, right? The Western shoot off, and I don't think Cobb Vanth Timio is dead. He only got shot once. His buddy got shot like 5 times.
It was in the shoulder too. Like his buddy might as well have been wearing a red Star Trek shirt, right? They just telegraphed it as soon as you start to see Cad Bane off into the distance. Like he is just like just shoot me. He's basically screaming it.
And then we get by God, my favorite character out of the Clone Wars is Cad Bane through and through. He oozes, bounty hunter. He oozes Western villain through and through. Even with his cowboy hat.
Great voice too.
It's the same voice. Yeah, his voice actor from the Clone Wars is the one who did him in the show as well, which I think was a big win. And this is his first live action appearance, and you kind of get to see a little bit of him. And he is what do they say in Deadpool? And you are hard to look at, but he is awesome through and through. It
was an interesting experience for me because, as and some of the other listeners know, I'm not a Clone Wars completionist, but I did my best to kind of watch all of the really iconic, quintessential episodes, and I actually saw a lot of the first couple seasons, if not entirely the first couple seasons. So I was aware of this character, but they're not really engraved in my brain like maybe some big Clone Wars fans would have. But when I saw the silhouette off into the distance, before you could even clearly kind of see a cowboy hat, the first thing I thought of is like, I think that's that blue cowboy. At the time, I could not remember his name, right? Obviously, as soon as the episode was done, I went and Googled it so I could remember his name, because obviously I'm going to have to talk about this on Sunday. So I was like, I think that's that blue cowboy. And I was like, oh my God. Chris has got to be so excited because I know he's really into this character. And then they get a little closer silhouette, and I was like, oh, I see the cowboy hat. And then I start going through my brain. If this isn't Cad Bane, if this isn't Blue Cowboy Man with the tubes coming out of his face, who else could it be? And they're obviously setting up for a reveal, because why would you start it off so far off into the distance? And then you can kind of tell right away, right? You see the blue chin, you know the hat's going to tilt up, and you're going to see the big bug eyes. For me, I thought the coolest thing was that they went very practical with it. Like, you can kind of see the lines on the face mask, right? Where you can kind of see, like, not like putty, but like it kind of has that classic kind of puppet crease around the mouth, you know,
it's
which
like Ahsoka's like her head tails or whatever. Like,
yeah,
they have like the physical crease in it.
Exactly. Yeah. And those creases would be something very easy to clean up in post-production, right? That's not even something you have to worry about. So there was like a conscious effort made to be like, let's let Cad Bane feel more real, right? Let's not polish up some of the stuff, because even aliens got creases in their face, right? These just seem to be a little bit more practical. So yeah, the teeth, the voice, the eyes, the action, very menacing. Yeah. Like, if you're watching this, never seen the Clone Wars before, don't know who this character is, you get all of the visual information that you need, right? You know he's a badass. We got to see him, like, shoot 2 people, right? So intimidating. It's just, Cad Bane was a great reveal, and I was living vicariously through you, knowing that you were having a great time in this moment.
Yeah, and I saw him, and the scene, it was one thing. I'm like, still shot. I'm like, damn it. But like hearing him come in, because the voice actor does such a great job at conveying, like, him and his tone. Like, he's got like he's a bounty hunter. He has a little bit of a code, right? He can be easily bought and purchased, and he's got like a confident swagger about himself. He's like, look, just don't even try it. Let's just, I'm going to give you what it is. Let's not cause any problems here. But if you cause problems, I will come out on top, if you will. And he's really cool about Cad Bane, and this is going to nerd out a little bit here. He has ties in Clone Wars to freeing Zero the Hutt, which is actually one of the Hutt people in the Clone Wars. Do you remember, like, he has that real Southern accent when he talks like this. So he has ties with the Hutt clan already. He also has ties with Darth Sidious, because he was paid to kidnap the Emperor, like under the false. He didn't know it was false guys, but under that. And then he actually butts heads very heavily with Boba Fett as a kid, when Boba was just getting into bounty hunting, like trying to go and kill Obi-Wan. So
I actually did. I read that because when I was looking up articles about Cad Bane to kind of learn myself a little bit, I was like, I'm sure Chris already knows about the backstory between Cad Bane and Boba Fett. But the most interesting thing that I thought about it was that there were episodes planned in the animated universe where Cad Bane and Boba Fett were going to meet more as equals, and those episodes were scrapped. But I guess there's still like some screenshots, or there's some leaks out there of what the episode was going to be, and there was going to be this whole storyline where Cad Bane was the reason that Boba Fett has the dent in his helmet. And I guess there even was an allusion to that did make it to the screen. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I'm curious, when Cad Bane like comes across Boba Fett, maybe in the final episode, will there be like, oh, you again, or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that it's not like a one-time cameo. Like, he was paid to come here, threaten somebody, then go away. I hope there's more to him, but like, he's definitely been a character that was created for the Clone Wars and has just been a really, people just drawn to him. So I recommend, if you've not seen the Clone Wars, there's probably a list of Cad Bane episodes you can watch. He also did make an appearance in the Bad Batch as well, which was a fun little cameo there. So I'm very, very thrilled that he's made it here. And then that's just like, we talk about Cad Bane. I mean, hell, fucking see Luke Skywalker with Yoda's lightsaber. He had Yoda's lightsaber there as well to give to Grogu.
Yeah, and it's even still a little bit too big for cute, adorable little baby Grogu. Finally get to see him again after months and months of our cute baby drought. He's got new powers now, as in he can jump, which might be the only power. I suppose he's force pulling frogs, which I think I don't know if he could quite do that the last time we saw him.
So Luke made a thing. He's not really learning. He's just remembering what he was being trained, which
He's
was
got
cool.
little baby amnesia.
Yeah, and it's fun to see him like not pass out after doing something with the Force, right? Like every time he used the Force, he'd always pass out. It is very everyone. I think the biggest discourse is here as Luke Skywalker making him choose between the Beskar chainmail or the lightsaber. So
it made my wife upset. She does not have the patience for Star Wars lore, and she was like, "No, he should not be doing this to baby. It's not fair. That's just mean." And I was like, "Well, babe, Luke is still very much going after his traditional learning of the Jedi way. He doesn't know anything else." And she's like, "I don't care." So if I had to make like a guess, if I would like to see where this goes, is like I think we're all kind of tired of the uppity, stuffy Jedi, especially Ahsoka. Her whole kind of final character arc, right, was kind of her leaving the path of the Jedi to kind of forge her own way. I would love to see a future somewhere down the lines in Star Wars where Grogu is an adult or a teenager. It is told to the audience that a lifetime for a human to him is like a blink of an eye. Or I don't remember exactly what the phrase was.
Yeah. He's like a connection for you is like a lifetime for them or something like that.
So
like,
I would
like you were gonna live forever. These people will not.
Yeah,
so.
I would love to see a future where Grogu is like more of an adult. He doesn't just have the lightsaber. He has the Beskar armor, and he's forging a new way for the Jedi.
Does he get the dark saber?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I feel like the darksaber is really kind of being tied to the Mandalorian faith. So I don't know if that'll be given to him. But who knows? Maybe there's a trilogy. Maybe there's a trilogy of movies in the future, right? Starring like whatever this alien creature is, right? I'm waiting to get that reveal, right? Yeah. What is the race of a Yoda? Like, I want to know what that is.
They're holding that close, man. They're not getting that out.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm gleaning at for the future, right? Let's just stop worrying so much about like the good versus evil fight of like what empire is rising now. Let's just really change the journey for like the Jedi. If Jedi are space religion, let's upgrade this space religion because it's a little too stuffy. Right? Let Jedis have attachments. Why can't they get married? They deserve love. Look what happens when you deny them that. You bring rise to the dark side.
Well, I think the other part of that is they mentioned specifically that Mandalorians again are very much rely on connections where the Jedi rely on no connections. And I think it's a very interesting distinction that they've made early on in this. Like they are very much they know what they're doing. It's a very smart decision to lay these seeds down. So. Do I think he chooses the chainmail? 100%. Now, what's he gonna do with the chainmail? I think a capable Grogu is what we need. We don't need a Grogu who's playing with the shifter knob on a spaceship. Like we don't need to like baby him anymore. He needs to be like very self-sufficient. I think it'd be interesting.
Also, it's going to be weirdly uncomfortable to see a baby Grogu hold a lightsaber, right? It's just I don't think it's going to look right. You need a lot of finesse. You need a lot of agility to kind of pull that off on a little tiny stature, and he's still too small to really hold it too. I could see him maybe palming, like putting the hilt and maybe turning it on for a second, and maybe like cutting the Achilles heel of a stormtrooper or something, but that's about it. So I think you really got to age the character up into the future to make any of that believable.
Well, and I believe that is why the chainmail makes more sense, right? Because he is not an offensive. He will never be on the offense as a small child. He'll always be on the defense, right? Because that's his stature. That's what he can do. However, if you remember last year when they were showing off, promotions for the upcoming Mandalorian and this, they showed Luke and Grogu making a lightsaber with a yellow hilt. So even if he chooses the armor, there's an opportunity here to work with maybe Ahsoka or Luke. Like, look, you will not be a traditional Jedi. You will be like a Force user like Ahsoka is, right? Who is obviously revered by Luke Skywalker, but not enough to where she's like, yeah, I want to do what you're doing because you're doing what the temple did, 30 years ago that ruined everything.
It is kind of odd when you think about it a little bit more, of Ahsoka and Luke kind of being next to each other. You kind of forget like how crazy of a connection that is, right? Like, Ahsoka didn't just know his dad. Like, there's probably nobody else in the galaxy that knows Anakin more than Ahsoka does, as opposed to, like, Obi-Wan, right? So it's like, you finally met another person that can give you a little bit more context on your father. And, like, you guys don't really seem to be sitting down and chatting about it that much, but who knows? Maybe it's the whole, like, Jedi mind connection. They're just vibing, and maybe Luke has been talking to the Force ghost of his father for decades now, so like meeting somebody that knew him isn't that big of a deal. Who knows?
This is only 6 years after Return of the Jedi, but also at the same time, I don't need to see their meetup in this episode. Ahsoka is getting her own show, so I 100% believe we'll get some backstory to what she's been doing since Rebels.
Yeah, and speaking of Luke and all of that, I am honestly shocked, and I will say I'm totally wrong, that we ever saw Luke again. I thought this was going to be a one-time thing we used to kind of send Baby Yoda on its way. I never even expected to see Grogu again, and the fact that they just like, no, we're going all in. We brought the character back to life. They're not just standing there anymore under a cloak. They're doing everything. They have monologues. They're carrying the entire scene with an artificially generated voice, which I will admit got a lot better this time around. I don't know if this now. I have a pattern of being wrong here, so I'll just say it and see if it happens. I doubt Luke Skywalker ever has his own show, right? I can't imagine the lead protagonist ever being somebody entirely artificial from head to toe, right?
Well, if they do, I'm casting Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, right? Like that's the internet's casting.
Now what they do is they
have to recast it. But.
Yeah, they mind freak us, right? You bring in Sebastian Stan, and then over the entire season, you slowly scroll down the opacity slider on the Mark Hamill Luke. So like by like the 5th season, you kind of seeing half and half, or the 5th episode. So by the season finale, like, oh, I was watching Sebastian Stan the whole time. I didn't even realize it.
It's like that guy in Ted Lasso. The internet thinks is completely CGI.
Right? Oh yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, this I thought last episode was going to be like the one we talk about the most. I'm like, this is fantastic. This is great. What a great change of pace. Not that the Book of Boba Fett's bad. It's just kind of like it's an event. We're going to get to one. Now I don't even know where this next episode's going to go, and I'm like, like the only thing I think we are going to get, Mike, 100%, is that Boba Fett will ride a Rancor into battle somewhere. If he doesn't ride that Rancor, we have been robbed, and we should riot. But
yes, exactly.
I know nothing else about where the next episode's going to go.
It is fun to imagine Dave Filoni, right, just sitting back in a chair, watching people react to 2 weeks ago, going, "Oh, they have no idea what they're about to see." So he seems to be having a great time, which I'm vibing with.
And I believe, and to me, this episode also proves whatever, NDA they have, or whatever they're paying the people working on this episode, they've paid them enough to not leak any of this for a year or more, right? Like, you don't make that Luke Skywalker overnight, like we talked about the other one, right? At the 11th hour.
I think it's two things colliding, working so much within the volume, and then also the pandemic has just kept things very locked down. Slim crews, not a lot of overlap. They probably have maybe A teams and B teams. So if like one team gets sick, the other team can keep running. So that probably did a really good job siloing a lot of the information. Yeah. But yes, thank you, Internet, for not spoiling any of this.
Yeah, except to hell with you, Internet, for spoiling Cat Bane.
Oh yeah, for you. Yeah.
I literally I told my wife that, and she's like, was that it? And I'm like literally at the gate with Timothy Oliphant. I'm like, no. She's like, is that it? When he goes to Ahsoka, I'm like, no. She's like, is that it? I'm like, no, it's not. So I was like, I had no idea where it was going to go. The last thing I'm going to say is the popular internet theory for how Grogu escaped Order 66 is a character called Barriss Offee, which was in the Clone Wars TV show. She is a Jedi who thinks the Jedi are doing too much and are going the wrong way, kind of like Ahsoka, but instead of just leaving, she bombs the Jedi Temple and blames Ahsoka. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was kind of like a big arc, wasn't it? That's what set kind of Ahsoka on the path of kind of leaving the Jedi Order.
Exactly. So that's exactly because they said it was her and she was going to be, no one believed her, and they come to find out it was, this other Jedi. And the other one, she was eventually just taken away in chains, and we never saw her again. So they said there are some markings around, like, I think when you're looking at Grogu, that show like her markings, like, of her door. So and that character's never been heard from again. So I could see her being like, look, I may not like the Jedi, but we need to get away from here. So I would not be surprised if another she wasn't created by Dave Filoni, but is used by Dave Filoni yet again to save Grogu along the way. Would not be surprised at all, because man, that guy, I wish he had a podcast. Like, I would listen to his podcast on just Star Wars stuff. Just let him ramble about Star Wars for an hour a week. I would absolutely.
That's probably an amazing conversation that you can look forward to when he's in his twilight years, right?
Yeah.
Like in his 80s. I don't think he's that much older than us, so we'll probably be elderly as well. But yeah, just sit down, a long conversation with Dave Filoni where he doesn't have to worry about NDAs anymore.
Yeah, he's 47, just in case you were curious. So I need to finish the Avatar: The Last Airbender show he worked on some of the episodes with. I need to do it, Mike. I'll probably try to find some time.
You gotta be a Filoni completionist.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Anyway, that's Boba Fett. I'm just blown away by this episode, Mike. I'm just absolutely fanboying myself to death over here. So let's wrap it up before I go down another rabbit hole of Star Wars, because I'm living some really good Star Wars this year, and let's do that. So if people know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. I did put up a video finally on Instagram since like 3 months of my arcade cabinet, so if you guys want to check that out on there, on Instagram, see what it does and what I've been working on. And you find me on the Xbox and PlayStation under the same tags. If people know more about the show, what we're doing, and I guess our next review episode is even the Batman, so we got a month out for that. Where can they find all this stuff at?
Yeah, just head on over to superheroslate.com. That is the online headquarters for our podcast, The Superhero Slate. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts like this. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. What did you think of CGI artificially voiced Luke from head to toe? Better improvement? Still hating it? Are you loving it? Do you want to see more of it? What did you think of the book of Boba Fett? Yeah, reach out. Let us know. We love our super fans. If you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy. Go ahead and make sure you're boosted too. Over a 90% chance that you won't end up hospitalized if you're boosted. I think that's amazing. And those are good odds. And watch out, Dakota Johnson. You're in the Spider Universe now.
That's right. They don't have Disney Plus at hospitals, so you got to just let you know that. So, all right, we'll catch you guys next week.
All right, bye everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.